All right, now joining the show, we have Connecticut native and powerlifter Jake Casey. Jake, what's going on, man?
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to get you on. Little backstory: Jake just competed in his first competition and threw up some looked like pretty crazy numbers. Were you expecting to throw up the numbers that you did at the competition?
Yeah, for my first meet, I mean, like I was hoping to PR and everything, I
Mhm.
was hoping for the best, but as soon as I hit that first squat, it just felt awesome, it felt natural. Everything I was doing prior to it. So I've been working with Stephen Pez. He's
Okay.
a powerlifting coach. He's out of Lightning Fitness, and going with him, was definitely one of the best things I've done. We peaked perfectly going into the meet, and yeah, I felt great, especially that one day, and I was hoping to hit some big numbers, and I ended up doing it. So basically PR'd on everything.
Mhm. Now starting with squat, I've got your numbers here. Your first was 495, then
hmm
you went to 530, going to 555. What was the
hmm
thought process there? What was like your prior one rep max, and when did you decide that you were going to go 555 versus maybe 540, and kind of so on?
So one of my buddies, his name's Wes. He handled me for the meet, so he actually called for that.
Okay.
As soon I knew I was gonna hit that. Right as I hit that 530, I knew I was gonna hit a pretty good PR, pretty good numbers. The my second attempt 530 just flew up.
Moved
So
crazy.
I knew I was gonna hit at least 555. And actually, I don't regret it, but I do think I have a little bit more in the tank. It just moved a lot
Okay.
easier than I thought it would. But as soon as I racked that 530, I knew I was gonna hit 555. Wes actually, so I called for the 555. He was actually at the end of the meet, he actually said he was going to go for 565, but I mean, I'll take it. It was still a pretty decent PR. And
Yeah.
my heaviest squat during prep for the meet was 535, which was the week
Okay.
prior. So about a 20-pound PR, and think I have a little bit more in the tank. So we'll see.
So then going in, so bench your first one 325, 340, and then 355 was, I
hmm
mean, bench seems, I know for myself that's one that I struggle with the most. That seems
hmm
like one that a lot of people that lift struggle with. Was that maybe a lift you struggled a lot with, or did you feel real confident going in that you were going to put up 350 plus?
So bench for me, like, so I was a baseball player, so I used
Yep.
to not bench like a lot at all. So bench kind of took a long time for me to get pretty solid at. Took
Hmm.
a lot of training, a lot of technique, a lot of work put in for that. And as soon as I started working with Steve, so we were benching like 4 times a week for like 10 weeks, which a lot of people say it's a lot, but my opinion, I think it's optimal if you're going for specificity in powerlifting.
Yep.
And as soon as I started doing that and working with Steve, like it just kind of flew up. So I had some pretty big PRs during training. I had my biggest was 363. And so I knew I had a pretty solid bench coming in. And 350. So comp versus like training too, it's gonna be a little bit less.
Yep.
So actually, so warming up, we were warming up on one of these like shitty benches.
Yeah.
And I took my last warm up. I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I was still trying to get in the zone. And then as soon as I hit that 325, the first attempt, I was like, okay, we're hitting something good today.
Right. You
So
felt
it
you
felt a
felt in the
lot better than the
groove when
meat.
you hit that.
What's that?
You got in the groove when you hit that.
Yeah.
You kind of felt
Yeah. I
in the
got hyped
zone
right
for it.
after that. Uh-huh.
So then the last one, the video of you hitting 645 on deadlift, that the after part of it, you looked super excited about it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I mean, it was a 10-pound, you bumped 10 pounds, you went
hmm
635 on your second attempt. Now you're going 645 on your third.
hmm
Was now the excitement for that? How big of a PR was that? And just going through your head going into it, was that a
hmm
number you didn't think that you were really going to hit, or and you just kind of got in the zone?
So my goal, so I wanted to hit at least around 635, which I hit for my second attempt.
Yeah.
That was my goal going to the meet. 645. So my heaviest deadlift during the prep was 635.
Mhm.
And I hit it fairly, so I kind of tore a callus, so I hit it fairly easily. But
Yeah.
going into it, I wanted around 635. So I'm so happy with the 645. But so what happened, right? So the 635 for my second attempt moved a lot slower than I wanted it to. I just kind of, long day, I kind of got out of the groove. And so for that 645, I had to really dial in, in the back, listen to some music, just getting hyped, kind of getting in a zone. And then ended up just moving faster than the 635. And it just did. After that too, going 9 for 9 my first meet, it was just, I couldn't ask for anything better, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was just so happy after that, especially being at Lightning Fitness, everybody there hyping me up. The members there too, they're awesome there.
It's your home. You're on your home field. It must.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I was so excited to compete there.
Now you brought up music. How you're listening to that? One of the questions we always do, it's consistent on the show, is whenever we have like an athlete on, we ask what their pregame playlist was. So I'm curious. You played
Okay.
baseball at East Catholic. What were like maybe 1 or 2 songs you listened to then, and now when you're getting ready for the meet, what were 1 or 2 that maybe were going through your headphones at the time? So I want to know the difference between the two.
So, I'm a little bit different. I love heavy metal, hard rock, heavy metal. That's just growing up. That's all I listened to. My dad loved that shit. So that's all I've been listening to. Let's see. I'm trying to think. The song I was listening to right before I hit that was 2 Weeks by All That Remains. That's my all-time PR song. That, One Step Closer by Linkin Park, and The End of a Heartache by Killswitch Engage. Those are my 3 big PR songs. And Before I Forget by Slipknot. Those are my top 4 to get in the zone. Just when I'm ready to just attack stuff, those are my 4 right there.
Now, for when you were playing baseball, was that kind of the same for you?
Yeah. I've always kind of grew up listening to the same stuff. I haven't really expanded too much. Same artists, all that, hard rock, metal, the good stuff like that. That's basically all I've been listening to. Even playing baseball too.
So now going in day of the meet, what was your routine when you got there? Walk me through your day before you go for your very first lift. Wake up, what did you eat? What was kind of like your ritual throughout the day prior to going from 9 for 9?
So actually, one of the things I attribute really is the diet that day. That I think that would actually really help. Staying focused, not feeling too full, especially going into like my first squat and everything. So that night, I don't know how, man. I usually don't sleep that good before something big like that, but I got a good night of sleep. Woke up around like 6:30 or so. I got there for rules at 7:45, and so I got up. I was cooking. I cooked a couple meals for the day. Nothing too crazy, just some ground beef, rice, some whole food, something that can digest really easily. And I ate my first meal, which was cream of rice, some protein powder, and almonds.
Okay.
And I started sipping on some Pedialyte water just to make sure I'm hydrated for that. And right before, so about an hour before I took my first squat attempt, around like 8:45 to 9, I had a shake, which consisted of some more protein and a lot of oats, just something that can get down easy, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And I was sipping on then right after that I started sipping on my pre-workout right before that just to get some caffeine in, get a little bit hyped up. And I had an energy drink in the morning too, just because I gotta wake up, right before that. So I had that, got hyped up for squats, and throughout the day too, one thing I was doing was sipping on a ton of water. I think I drank like maybe 2 or 3 gallons literally.
Oh, wow.
With and I had some carbs in there, this stuff called liquid IV, so it's just like sodium, potassium for electrolytes, and some amino acids too, just throughout the day, just to make sure I'm feeling good, fresh, and definitely some more Pedialyte too. I had a lot of Pedialyte that day just to make sure everything was good. And then so directly after I finished my third squat attempt, I had the ground beef and rice that I cooked before, because we had like an hour and a half before, which was actually awesome. So I had enough time to let it digest and everything before we started bench. Then same thing after bench, ground beef, rice, and right before deads. And that was basically it for the day. I made sure I was eating, drinking a lot of fluids, make sure I stay hydrated, and a lot of caffeine too, a lot of pre-workout, I will say.
That's what I was going to ask, is kind of like, so the morning meals you can kind of determine after you weigh in and stuff like that. The midday meals must have been, were you kind of thinking about that before? Like, when am I going to get this in? Did you know beforehand that you were going to have like that hour and a half break in between each lift?
So go for my first meet. I actually wasn't 100% sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually got lucky with that. We had a lot of time in between. There's a lot of lifters there. And so I did get a little bit lucky that I had a lot of time to let it digest and everything. But my plan was just to have it ready just in case. I always over prepare, bring everything, extra clothes,
Yep.
extra pre-workout, everything. So I just basically was hoping that I could get it in sometime, or I was just kind of just going to squeeze it in
Figure out a
before
way to get it.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, just to make sure I'm not hungry or anything during the meet.
Now for weigh-ins, what weight class did you go? And
Mhm.
were you close to weight? Like, was that a struggle for you to cut down to stay, or were you able to maintain?
So I competed in the 198.
Okay.
I so a couple days before I didn't really have to cut or anything too much. I was like 200 a couple days before. So basically I just cut out carbs the day before, not a lot of water at all. I water loaded a little bit, and I weighed in at 197. So it wasn't really a problem. I wasn't too worried about it at all.
Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah.
Mhm.
So that must have been a nice feeling knowing that,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the day that morning, you were gonna have to wake up and like hop on the
Yeah.
scale and kind of cross your fingers and pray that you were gonna
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
underweight.
Yeah. So about a week or two before I weighed in around like 200. So like, oh, I can't really like beast, I can't have too many calories. So I kind of a couple weeks out, I didn't lower them too much. I was still eating a good amount. Just make sure I stay active and everything. But yeah, a couple days before I was weighing myself, and then like I was water loading a little bit. Water loading was a lot of sodium too. And then I just basically cut everything out the day before, and I dropped a couple pounds, and it was pretty easy. I was a little bit worried, especially for
Yeah.
my first one, but yeah, I wasn't too worried too. You know, I wanted to make sure I was under that 198, but even if I did weigh over a little bit, I didn't think it was too big of a deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. Just a couple pounds.
Now, following the meet, did you kind of go out after treat yourself, or was it like right back, like sticking to the diet? Everything stays the same, or did you kind of did you
Oh
have a little bit of a celebration?
yeah, we went out to eat. I had a nice, delicious burger, some fries and stuff too. So that was definitely well needed, I will say. Uh-huh.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Hmm.
So the when did you kind of get into fitness? Like the whole dieting aspect, was that during high school when you were playing baseball, or did that follow once you got into college?
Yeah, so I started to get into it like probably around my sophomore year of high school, I would say. I kind of got into it just for baseball. I was lifting, but then I really started to get serious around like later into my junior year of high school and senior year. That's when I really started to really enjoy lifting and eating good, feeling good, all that. And then it kind of took everything into college, and then just kind of
Mhm.
took off from there. I really like, even in class and stuff too, I would do like research. I would just be kind of bored. I would look up stuff, I just wanted to gain more knowledge on everything and just kind of translate that into my lifestyle.
Now, with when you were at college, how were you able to kind of, because it's tough when you get to school,
Hmm.
nutrition wise, gym wise too, you don't know how you're going to really train if you get up to campus. How
Hmm.
did you kind of factor that in? Obviously, with COVID, you're able to
Hmm.
be back home and go to Lightning, but when you're
Yeah.
back on campus, how do you kind of deal with that?
So so going into college, one of the biggest reasons I went to Central, I actually played baseball there at
Okay.
CCSU. So I originally only went to Central to play baseball and everything, and then some things I wasn't a big fan of it, so I
Mhm.
stopped. I stopped from there, and I just enjoyed lifting a lot more. It was more me.
Yeah.
So luckily I didn't live too far. So when I was on campus, I would go home, get food, bring it back to my dorm,
Okay.
or I would try to go to the store myself and just try to eat as clean as possible. I didn't really eat too much on campus. I kind of did my own thing. I would bring snacks and like healthier food, so I can make sure I get my protein and all that in and just stay on my diet. And then luckily after that, after I stopped, I had my own house too, so
Oh,
I would
nice.
eat there too. And I mean, living not too far away from here, I could always come home. It was only like 15-20 minutes, so it's a quick ride. Even if like say before like a while ago before practice, I could run home quick, get a good food, or like go to the store really quick, get some like healthy stuff, and I could
Yeah.
just come back. So one thing for me at least, I really, really wanted to stay on my shit,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure everything was good. Cause even when I did play baseball, like fitness was like, it was still one of those things I just absolutely loved. Like it was my other thing that I love doing. So that was so important to me to make sure my diet's on point and like lifting too, especially.
So I'm a big fan of like I love following like recruitment and stuff
Mhm.
for kids out of high school. How so you get recruited to a Division 1
Yep.
school. What other teams were interested, and was Central kind of like right out of the gate the clear cut number one, or was there
Mhm.
maybe a Division 2 or Division 3 school, another Division 1 that hopped in that you were interested in?
Mhm. So coming out of high school, so Central, they basically offered me a spot to play when I was like earlier, not really earlier, but like during my senior year. So I was a little bit of a late recruitment.
Okay.
So they saw me pitch a bunch of times and they were like, yeah, you should come here, you have a spot. And I was like, all right, sweet, because in my mind I always wanted to go D1, always
Yeah,
D1,
yeah.
and then it didn't work out in the end, but luckily I have something else that I love doing.
Mhm.
And for me at least, it wasn't I wasn't gonna go anywhere, like I mean I was good, but I wasn't gonna go play pro baseball. I couldn't make money off of it, so it just wasn't worth it to keep playing in my opinion. But going out of high school, there was mostly a lot of D3 schools,
Mhm.
Eastern. I was actually originally gonna go to Eastern to
Okay.
play. And actually when I stopped playing, I was still debating on going to play at another school, and like I was
Yeah,
thinking about
transfer
transferring
out.
there and stuff like that. But it was mostly a lot of D3 schools, some D2s, but I didn't really look at them too much just because
Mhm.
farther away, and I wanted to stay pretty close to home, and that's why Central was literally perfect. D1, 15, 20 minutes from home. I could go back and forth, and it was everything I wanted, but it just didn't work out in the end. But I mean, I don't regret it at all. I will say, don't regret it.
I was gonna ask, is that something you maybe regret? Because if you had gone to Eastern, if you'd still be playing, maybe, but then if you're still playing, then you're not really on the path you're on now, where you're
Mhm.
competing in powerlifting competitions. So it's a little bit of a double edged sword for you. You could
Mhm.
either still be playing baseball, but not be competing at the level you're at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my thing. I love this, so I don't regret anything. But
Mhm.
yeah, maybe if I did go there, I probably would still be playing. It just the way it was at the school I was at, just I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. How it was just wasn't fun really. It kind of
Yeah.
ruined it for me when I got there. So yeah, I mean I don't regret it at all. But if I did go to another school, I think I would still be playing. Not gonna lie, I will say.
Do you
But everything happens for a reason. So I am where I am now, and I'm really happy with how everything's been going.
Do you think it maybe like the aspect that it was Division 1, because a lot of Division 1 schools, you're essentially an athlete, you're there to make the school money. Was
Mhm.
that maybe a factor in it where it was like your whole time there, you are a baseball player? It wasn't maybe as fun as playing in high school where it's
Mhm.
uh I guess I always say that high school sports are probably the purest form of the game
Mhm.
of really
Mhm.
any sport, because a lot of
Absolutely, I
kids
agree
are
with that.
having fun. So did the fun just kind of get sucked out of it when you realized that it was more of a business at the Division 1 level versus you and your friends having a good time and playing baseball?
Yeah, it was just such a job, it was unorganized, I wouldn't it just everything was like last minute and stuff too. And then I got hurt and it just wasn't worth it at the end. I was a pitcher, so my elbow was all sorts of jacked up and
Yeah.
everything. So it just in the end it just wasn't worth it. But yeah, it was a business, it was a job,
Mhm.
and I couldn't work or do any of that too. And I had, I got to pay for stuff too, so it just wasn't really worth it. But yeah, high school was so fun, and like going into it, I was so hyped up. It was gonna be awesome. I was so excited, and then yeah, it just kind of ruined the fun for it. Like Central as a team, they're awesome. They're nasty. They were
Mhm.
in Oregon this year.
Yeah.
Just some people it just doesn't work out. So it is what it is. But yeah, it just kind of ruined it for me. It just wasn't fun anymore.
High school baseball for you probably was a little bit more fun than a lot of kids around the state.
Yeah.
Playing for Coach Fiore, playing at
Mhm.
East Catholic, you guys were every year coming out of the CCC that you guys were a powerhouse. So I mean, that probably was a lot more fun knowing that you were
Yeah.
going to go out there and win some games versus other
Uh-huh.
teams that were like, we don't know how good we're going to be this year.
Yeah, yeah, we were. Yeah, especially in high school, we were always pretty good too, and we were always into it. Especially for the summer teams I played for, we were nasty. You know, we were going everywhere. Our pitching staff was great too, and great coaches too. So it was so fun. Even the kids I played with, like I was all really good friends with them. Like we would hang out all the time and stuff too, which made it so much better.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, did you play with both the Mazzucato brothers, um, Frank and Anthony?
Oh yeah, so Anthony I played with all the time, you know, even so when I my sophomore year is when I stopped playing. I played for a couple, like maybe a month and a half or so. So a little bit at Central, and then all throughout high school I did play with Anthony in summer ball too. Like we were always on the same team, you know, for the Connecticut Rivals. We played together, East Catholic too. Frankie was a freshman when I was a senior.
Gotcha.
So he coming up, like I knew he was gonna be good. I remember seeing him at practice. I was like, I don't know why he wasn't on varsity. Like he could have pitched for us. Like he could have been one of those other guys, you know. Because it was me, Anthony, and this other kid named Jake. We were the three guys on the staff when I was a senior. But like he could have helped out a lot. I saw it from the beginning. He was gonna be legit, you know. And then look at him, he's a first rounder, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy now. A bunch of the mock drafts, I've seen a bunch of them have him
Nuts.
going like 29 to
Uh,
LA, which is outrageous.
yeah,
That's insane.
yeah, he really progressed, and he's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. I went to the state championship too, and he just absolutely shoved it to him. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy for real. Like seeing how he just progressed. Like I remember when he was a freshman, and then like I remember I saw him throw, and like I had a pocket radar on him, and I was this kid's throwing 92. Like what the hell? Like as a senior, like what the like you don't see, especially in Connecticut, you don't see that
No.
ever, never. Uh-uh.
It's crazy that I was looking at it yesterday. I think a kid from like Waterford ended up winning Gatorade Player of the Year for baseball over him. I'm like, that's just
Oh, Frankie didn't win it.
no. It's a
No, are you
shame that that can
serious? Oh,
happen.
that's ridiculous. The kid went like 50 innings with no hit. Even his
Yeah,
brother's good too. Seriously, that
yeah.
both of them are both nasty pitchers. Anthony's done really well. He was nasty in high school. He had a great couple years at Central too, and he's still doing well. But like Frankie too, like that's kind of crazy. I thought he was gonna win it.
You and me both. But
Jeez.
so when's the next competition looking like for you? Are you still maybe coming down from the most recent one, or do you already have one kind of planned out for a few months?
I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm definitely gonna try to find one maybe at the end of this year, the beginning of next year. We'll see. I'm gonna talk to my coach Steve, see
Mhm.
what he says about it. At least for the next like couple weeks, I'm gonna kind of a little bit beat up,
Yeah.
definitely beat up. You know, my hips, my knees are a little bit shot, a little bit of tendonitis in my elbows too. So I'm just gonna heal up, and just kind of see where it takes me. Get on some more programming within the next couple weeks, and then definitely gonna look for a meet within the next like the end of the year, beginning of next year. I would say something like
So
that.
what's this week kind of looked like for you? Has it been a lot of just stretching, kind of just getting your body back to normal after having a day where you're going through three huge lifts at the
Uh-huh.
hardest you're probably going to go. So how is like you said, your body's a little beat up. How has the recovery process been?
So so I love being in the gym. So Monday, let's see, what's today? Today's Wednesday. Monday I kind of just went in the day after. I did some cardio, got a nice like hit some arms, got a nice pump. Then
Mhm.
day after the same thing. I love being in the gym, so I always find a way to do something. But yeah, nothing too crazy. Definitely no big compound lifts or crazy stuff like that. I'll just go in, get a pump. Like I hit some arms Monday. Like a little bit of pull, some back stuff. Nothing like not chest supported where my low back is fatigued because my
Yeah.
hips, low back were definitely a little bit sore after the meet. And like today, I benched a little bit today. I some chest stuff, but nothing too crazy right now. Definitely got to heal up these next couple weeks, but
Gotcha.
mhm,
Awesome.
mhm.
Jake, I appreciate getting you on.
Mhm.
Hopefully next time your next competition rolls around after when you put up even bigger numbers, we'll get you right back on to talk about it again.
Yep, that's the goal, man. We'll see where it takes me. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to this episode of the My Parents Office podcast, and stay tuned for more episodes we're going to be bringing to you guys. Thank you.